Good morning for everybody who's here live, and good whatever time of the day it is for everybody that's watching this as a video. And welcome to Tarot Time, and welcome to the Medium channel, where we bring you the spirituality behind the message. And yes, there is a lot of energy, a lot of activity, a lot of action going on, and we're gonna dive into this right now. And let me turn the pings off. So, firstly, um, yeah, this week, astrologically, it's pretty active. Today, I think Mercury and the Sun are conjunct today. Is Sharita on? If Sharita's on, she'll correct me if I'm wrong. Um, and that basically means we're at the midway point of the Mercury retrograde. So we're halfway there, and then Venus goes direct early in the morning Eastern time on Saturday. So that's the 29th, I believe. And somewhere in the middle, I think on Friday, Mercury and Pluto are going to be conjunct, and the Sun and Pluto have been conjunct for a while now. So Pluto's very active, a lot of changing energy, a lot of shifting energy. And I actually did a live stream last week, actually like 2 or 3 days ago here on the channel about things to expect for the rest of January into February. So there's a little bit of a psychic forecast involved, but mostly you know, sh- you know, talking about a couple of news events that are likely to be coming more and more to the surface in the next few weeks. That's going to really change a lot of the trajectory of what's going on in the world. So the world's really changing very quickly now, and there's a lot of energy that's coming in. We had a few solar flares last week, so we're coming up to the late 2024 peak of the solar activity cycle, the 11-year cycle, and the magnetic field continues to get weaker. So we're getting a lot of it's like the light codes of the sun, so it's not a negative thing, unless we have a massive core ejection that knocks out the grid. That's not such a good thing, but it brings neutrinos, it brings photons, it helps activate us. So there's the activation codes are actually in the physical sun, but they're of the central sun. So as the activity increases and other things are happening and going on, it's creating energetic upgrades that we can all start to take advantage of through our meditation practice and through our spiritual practices. So while Venus and Mercury are still in retrograde, and while kind of it's sort of like the pot simmering, it's almost like getting ready for the pot for the lid to blow, so to speak. This is a really good time for us to go within, to do our meditation work, to do our inner shadow work, our clearing of old programs, old ideologies, old belief systems. They were never ours in the first place. So I will see what comes up in the tarot in just a second, but energetically or intuitively, it feels to me like energy still setting, and we may start to experience another round of a lot of change in the next lunar cycle. So we have I think it's the first, actually, the first or the second. I didn't check my dates, but I think that's when the next new moon is, and the next lunar cycle is going to begin. And I think February is going to be a really, really active month of change. So I think right now is the time to be in our center. There, Spirit's telling me for everybody to work on the sacral chakra, the root and the sacral. That's our grounding chakras, and the sacral chakras are emotions. It's our creativity. Um, it's a big indicator of our physical energy. So when our sacral chakra is imbalanced, then we have a lot of physical energy. But if it's overactive, we can have a lot of anxiety or a lot of difficult emotions. And if it's underactive, we can have low energy and be open to disease and stuff like that. So a little bit, you can put your hands on your sacral chakra and a little bit of deep breathing and inhaling, and just feeling, your belly expand and drawing energy, light of the universe around you into your belly. Feel it circulating, and exhale and release stresses and worries, because we can hold on to a lot of our stress, our worry, our fear, and those types of emotions can be held in the sacral chakra. But in Eastern mysticism and Eastern martial arts system, that's the Dan Qian. That's our power source in the physical body, our center of gravity. So having that clear and having the energy flowing smoothly, and then grounding is a good thing to do. And do your breathing exercises, inhaling love of the universe. You can do that in your heart, in your sacral, exhaling and releasing. So let's get into tarot, because it is tarot time after all. So I want to talk a little bit about tarot. That would be appropriate, right? So we're still in the deep freeze here in the Catskill Mountains. So tarot is a tool for a lot of different things. It's a divination tool, but it's also a what's the right word? I was going to say an indicator, but that's not the right word. A portal, as it were, into mystical energy, mystical thought, and it links in with the Kabbalistic tree of life. So, so through tarot, basically, you can get it. You can link in. It's a tool that you can link in with spirit and higher consciousness. Yeah, one of many tools. And it's through the last 30, 40 years, it's become really the most popular tool among psychics. So we can gain insights through the tarot to make choice center predictions and readings, but we can use it as a meditation tool also. And the 78 cards of the tarot basically are symbolic representations of like the 78 different aspects of human life or human existence, or the experiences available to us. I mean, saying 78 is putting a finite value on something that's infinite, obviously, but just you can look at it as just like energy types or energy frequencies, where the major arcana is really about about consciousness, and the minor arcana is more about situations, but it's highly interpretable and subject to our own relationships with the cards and our own relationships with ourselves, really. So on that note, I am going to pull a meditation card that we can all use for the coming week. So I asked Spirit to give me the best card for us to meditate on based on what's happening energetically, both in the world around us, but also in our community and in our lives. And excuse me. So, by the way, this Monday, this is going to be on Patreon, on the Spirit Mind Family. That's our membership program. I'm going to talk about my experiences having COVID and what I learned through that experience, and that just kind of reinforces what I believe, anyways. And so what we do once a month on Spirit Mind Family is that we have a live video where we can have a Q&A, and it's manifestation month, so I'll do a manifestation process. But obviously what's going on with the virus, and that's a big event in the world, obviously, for the last 2 years. And spirits told me a lot, but actually having it in my body gives me gave me some new insights and new understanding of it. And I could look at it as in different ways, as an illness, as a thought form, or an aspect of consciousness. I can also look at it as a learning tool as well, and a way of understanding, maybe more of what's going on in the world, or more of what's going on within me. Because it's a very kind of a mental virus. I'll explain more about that. And I didn't leave any information on the thread here, but on the comments, when this becomes a video, I'll leave the link and how you can find more information about Spirit Mind Family if anybody wants to join the inner community there. So Yeah, me coughing and having chest congestion is what reminded me of that. I long since healed from it, but sometimes there's a little bit of residual, like any virus. Um, so, anyways, so let me just clear my mind a second. Oh, I did not successfully clear my mind enough. Okay, deep breath, Adam. Inhale, love and light. Exhale, release. Okay, there we go. I got it. Oh, good. We're back to getting the major arcana. And the star card's a beautiful card. And it's the card in the major arcana that comes right after the tower card. So after the tower falls, the major arcana, sometimes it's called the Fool's Journey. It basically shows us 22 steps or aspects of spirituality or consciousness. And as we go on our spiritual path and raise our consciousness, we go through these different 22 phases. So when we hit key 16 in the tarot, which is the tower, that's when part or all that we built has to be leveled. It has to be destroyed in order to rebuild on a more solid foundation. But after the tower card comes the star card, which is inspiration, it's hope, it's optimism, it's your newfound spirituality, newfound connections. And in the Henson Roberts deck, there's a very nice depiction, and with it relates to the sign of Aquarius, which is actually an air sign, but it's the water bearer, so water comes into it. And so it's a nice image here. And the way to meditate with the card is once you get present, that's the first step. Always get present. I fail to do anything on YouTube or don't mention that word. So get out of your thoughts into your breathing, and just doing that. And just for a little sample, if you want to indulge me a little bit, just do that now. While I'm talking, even don't think, just breathe and stop your thoughts and just be aware of your breath and your body. And just by doing that, your consciousness raises. How you feel changes when you do that. And such a simple tool that if we can remember to do that during the course of our day, we're going to just naturally be in higher consciousness. And the world around us is constantly trying to pull us into lower consciousness, into fear, worry, guilt, shame, all those lower frequency emotions. But if you stop your thoughts, inhale, exhale, relax your shoulders, relax your body. And then your conscious raises, but you start to break through the barriers of our own thought patterns, our own repetitive program thought patterns, and then we start to open up to spirit just by doing that. So when you step into the card, so when you do that, get nice and relaxed, and then start to meditate. You can take a mental snapshot of my star card, or if you have your own tarot deck, use your star card. And in your mind, when you're nice and relaxed and ready, almost like a door opens, step into the card, see the panoramic view around you, feel the energy of the card, because you're in another reality. You're in another, it's like a portal to another dimension, so to speak, or another level of reality. So feel what it feels like. Feel, what does your body feel? What do your emotions feel? What thoughts come in? What feelings, what images, what messages, what other beings are in the card? There may be angels, there may be spirit guides, there may be people that crossed over. And what messages do you get? And just be part of it, and try to do that as a daily meditation. Perhaps this card coming up as our meditation card, the spirits wave, say we need to keep our sense of hope and optimism. There's still things that need to happen before we get through this phase of I'll say, of our evolution. It's almost like a destruction of all that was, in a way. All that's been built up on a house of cards in the society. That it has to level, it has to fall down. And basically that's really a nice analogy, I think. That we built a society on a house of cards. your tiny little bug comes along, it tears the whole thing down, and then we have to rebuild. So we're very much in the tower experience. We're coming to USA Pluto return, and we have a video with Sharita Starr that breaks that all down. And it's really the first official beginning would be on, I believe, the 20th or 20th to the 22nd of February, because I've seen both dates come up with different astrologers. It's just a matter, because Pluto moves so freaking slowly. It's just a matter of when Pluto actually hits the same degree, the same minute, and the same second that when the USA official birthday is. The official birthday is July the 4th, obviously, when the Constitution was agreed upon. The signing was actually August the 2nd, so that kind of leaves a little bit more room for interpretation, because if you look at it that way, Pluto, rather than being at 27 degrees Capricorn, it would have been at 26 degrees, and we'd already be in the first pass. But anyway, I'm getting a little bit over technical with you guys this morning. So anyways, some other news, because I just saw Doreen's message come up. Next Sunday, I believe at 5 p.m., Doreen Foxwell, who's the founder of Children's School of Yoga, is going to do a little bit of a yoga class for us to help us with our ascension, and to help us through all the stress that that society and these changes are putting on our physical bodies, our emotional bodies, and our mental bodies. So I mean, stress is part of life, but it's really how you deal with stress is where the real lesson is and the real value is. Stress won't go away as long as you're living and breathing in a human body in the year 2022. But you don't have to buy into that. You can step into your heart. You can step into your center. You can do yoga and upgrade your physical and your energetic system. So she's going to help us out with that next Sunday. So I wanted to mention that. And other news or other plugs, Sharita Starr, our expert numerologist astrologer, is in-house today. And she has now 3 videos up on the Medium channel. Pluto return, 2022 predictions, and or is it 2 videos? Gosh, I can't even keep track. I think it's 3. Anyways, if not, there'll be a 3rd before too long. And my other astrologer friend, Armand Diaz, he does a weekly astrological mood cast on YouTube on integral astrology. So he does some good work also. So what I'm going to do is do a 3-card spread, see what it says, what our messages are, if it sheds any light on current events in the world. It's interesting. I think it was 2 weeks ago I talked about some volcanic activity. Then we had that issue in the South Pacific that basically created a tsunami, not a big one, but a tsunami that basically covered the entire Pacific Basin. And that was a big eruption. So the Earth, nothing's isolated in the Earth. It's a closed system. It's all connected. So if there's one eruption in one part of the world, there's going to be reactions and counter events happening in different parts of the world. So I feel like February is going to be a very active month in geological events. So there could be more earthquakes, more volcanoes. I mean, obviously that's always happening, and that's been an issue for a while, but we may see a little spike in that. And for some reason, as I'm talking about that, I'm just seeing fire. So we may have some uptick or somewhere of forest fires. It's earth changes. It's all evolution. It's all growth. Change is not always easy, but it has to happen. The house of cards has to fall, and then as humans, we need to get a little smarter and a little bit more connected to spirit or source to learn how to rebuild things on much more solid foundations. That's going to be more equal and fair for everybody. That's going to be inclusive rather than exclusive, which is the way our systems and are being run now. Either you're in or you're out. And yeah, we want it to be more inclusive and you know, sort of bring everybody to the light and to acknowledge that we're all part of a world community here, and that every moving part of it matters. So anyway, so this card, okay. So they show me the number 9 in my mind also. 9 complete cycles. So, you know, this may be, you know, something that's been brewing for a while. We may start to hear some completions around that. All right, so I got my 3 cards. And yes. Interesting. Are they all reversed? Yes, they are all reversed. I think reverse cards are telling me let go. I think that's what that's part of the message of that. Like a whole thing about, you know, it's just human nature that we want to hold on to things. It's a survival instinct. And the way the mind is constructed is that it gravitates towards familiarity because the subconscious or aspects of our mind believe that, you know, what is familiar and what is known is what is needed to survive. So when we're faced with change, there's a part of us that resists change, and that's why, you know, if you look around and you know, and you look at, you know, what goes on with your friends and stuff like that, and wonder why the heck don't they get that? Why won't they just change? It's a survival instinct. So that's why meditation and being present is so important, because then you can get out of that kind of human survival mode and get more into spirit and more into our source energy, and understand that actually perpetual change is what is stable. That's the only stable thing, because anything in a physical existence is going to change. You know, that's the nature. So anyway, I hope I'm speaking English, but we really have to work on ourselves and really work, you know, with spirit, and work with ourselves, and just be okay with letting go, and knowing, because when we when we're able to get out of our thinking mind, and connect with source and spirit, we know that we're not alone. We know that we're secure and we're safe. um, Nothing's gonna harm us. I mean, yes, you know, I know on a physical level, people get hurt, people lose things. You know, all kinds of terrible things can happen, but not a spirit. It's just part of a human experience. This is a very, very temporary existence, being in these meat and water suits that we put on. We come into the world as a baby. It's very hard to be a baby, by the way. I'm remembering more and more what it's like to be a baby. And it's, yeah, be nice to your baby. It's hard to be a baby, but anyway, the point being is that this is telling me we really kind of need to let go. And I'm seeing a lot of missteps with government. Hello, what else is new? And the powers that be. I think that what they're showing me is those select few that control everything and try to control everything are getting a little bit sloppy. And I think there's going to be some missteps. And some of the things that I talked about last week that's on the channel about yeah, the last Ascension update that I did, about the big news that's happening. Yeah, I think that this is showing that's happening, and that yeah, for some reason I want to go around midweek that we may see a few things that get revealed in the news. You know, whether it's you know, we talked a lot about the lab leak theory and everything, and you know, it's not so much, you know, if there's human error or worse, whatever the case may be. That's not really the issue. It's the cover-ups that's the issue. It's the yeah, the process that happened where things are hidden, things are censored, and then that fosters mistrust in the governments, and that fosters chaos and possibly even revolutionary energy or attitude. So you know, as things evolve and as everything falls down and starts to get rebuilt, people are really going to demand more transparency, and there's a lot of smoke and mirrors that's going on in the world now, and things are happening that most people aren't privy to. And but we're all intuitive, we're all psychics, whether we know it or not, and we feel it. So if we're being lied to and things are being withheld from us, on some level we feel it. And yeah, most people are so programmed that they just go along with it anyway. But even the most dense person on some level has got to feel that something's wrong. And the thing is, as consciousness continues to raise, as we raise our consciousness, it helps to raise the collective. More and more people are going to be like, this is just not right. And they're going to really start to question things. And then it just feels like the governments or the corporations or the pharmaceutical companies or whatever, the media, it's just going to keep trying to cover things up. It's almost like, things get exposed. So let's find some more dirt, cover it up. And then something else gets exposed. Let's find some more dirt and cover it up. And it's just not sustainable, not with this energy that we're experiencing from the cosmos and the upgrades that are happening. It's just not sustainable. And I think this is what this is kind of showing us. And my feeling is, I just have to say, if you don't have to go out, don't. If you don't have to do a lot, don't. If you do, before you go out or before you go to work or interact with people, take a moment to take a few deep breaths. Surround yourself with golden light or white light that's kind of like a circle of higher vibration of the universe, just to keep you shielded, because it just feels like it's just the energy is just hard. And it's been hard for a while, but that's what I'm kind of getting with the cards. Money issues may really start to show up around the country, around the world. So watch the economy. I said in my 2022 forecast, my psychic predictions, it's all on the channel. You guys can check it out later. I said to watch out for late January with the money markets and stuff like that. Now, prediction is just that. It's a prediction. Until it actually happens, it's in the realm of the unknown. And um and it's all fluid, so it can change. And when I do personal readings, that's what I tell people. This is what, if I do a tarot reading, because I do a mediumship and tarot and psychic readings. So if you do that, it's like, this is what spirit's saying through the card, but it's fluid. If you change your vibration, you can change your outcomes, and all possibilities already exist. This is being really validated and proven through quantum theory, that it's what our consciousness is. It's what we hold as consciousness energy. It's what dictates what we create in our lives and what we experience, both individually and collectively. This is the time to change that individually, to start to change it collectively. And so watch out, just, if you have investments, whether it's stocks or whether you go more for like Bitcoins and cryptocurrencies or whatever, just keep an eye on things, trust your instincts. If something, it may, I don't know if it's so much investments or more like international things, like devaluing the dollar, that kind of a thing. A lot of disagreement on Capitol Hill, like a lot of energies turning over and flipping. I mean, I know that's been on the news. I just don't keep up with the details of the news. I try to stay at least some level of understanding of what the mainstream news is telling people, just so I know how more. I mean, to know about current events, yes, but also to understand the dynamics of how people are being brainwashed and misled, really, to be quite honest. And these are all like this the judgment card and the ten of rods or wand. This is all about heavy responsibility, so I mean, it just feels to me like we just have to try to simplify our lives, for the next couple of weeks, I want to say. um Like I said early on, Mercury and the Sun are conjunct. So when Mercury's retrograde and Mercury and the Sun are conjunct, that means we're at the exact midpoint of the Mercury retrograde, basically. So Mercury's moving backwards faster, as much at the highest rate of speed that it's going to happen during this retrograde. So what happens after that? Mercury starts to slow down. When the planet of movement stops moving, that can be a bit of a problem. So as we get to early February, where it actually stations, we may just see a lot of stuff that's been suppressed just starting to boil up to the surface. So I'm interested to see next Sunday what's going to come out. But protect your money, protect your interests, and also look into your own values, and as you meditate, maybe work on discerning in your values what values are really your values, your heart values, versus those programmed beliefs from society that are your values really other people's values. And of course I can't answer that, only you can answer it, but our egos try to cover things like that up, and we really need to be present and out of our thinking minds to even begin to start to understand that, and to understand really how deeply programmed that we are. And I'll tell you, when I really started to do this work, it wasn't after my first awakening. I had a second awakening right around 2013, 2014. And then I started to really deepen my spiritual work. I was like, oh my God, it's like I started to realize I'm just like like carry these negative ideas. It's like prejudice even, and it's kind of like I had to really own up to the fact that subconsciously I carry these belief systems that are really just not pretty belief systems. They're very derogatory towards other people, other ideologies, schools of thought. And really, I had to back to that point of understanding, we're all brothers and sisters. We all connect to great spirit and source, but because of the programming and the forced division and the forced duality, and it's really come to a head, you know with all this going on. It's like right versus left. It's like the protocols on how to deal with viruses, it's very distinct sides. There's very distinct lines that are being drawn, and as long as we're in that mentality, in that mindset, nothing's going to get done. We're just going to be kind of pawns for the bigger operations of the world, of the elite or whatever. So really let go. I really feel like that's the message. I think that things are going to come out, and when they start to come out, it's going to be a cascading effect, and it looks like the crux of it may really begin this week. But we'll see when we get to next Sunday we get together. But anyway, I want to move on to a couple of other things. I have my Native American deck. Let me see. Do I have my specs? There we go. I can see close up now. Also, with these glasses, if I look into my screen, my eyes aren't getting damaged by blue light. So that's why you may see it reflecting a little bit of yellow. Anyway, I don't know why I said that. I feel like Spirit saying, "Well, you need to eat breakfast. You haven't eaten yet today." I'm like, oh yeah, I'm kind of. I do my little like my micro fasts. So sometimes I go 18 to 24 hours without eating. About once a week or so. All right, so this is a card they drew me to. They drew me to two cards today, so I'm going to pull both of them. That would be these two. Maybe I can do this. I have a clipboard, might as well use it. Oh, I think pregnancy came up another time also. Yeah. So anyways, well, thanks Sharita for everything. Okay, I'm just looking at you. Thank you for 24. That's my number, 24. That's my birthday. 24 is about integrity, by the way, amongst other things. Sharita can give you more of the Chaldean on numerology on the number 24, but integrity is always a word that I've associated with that number. And that's my birthday, so 24. So anyway, sand painter. What do painters do? They create. So let's create something. Pregnancy gives birth. Let's create something, give birth to some really good new ideas. I started my YouTube channel. The idea came in a ceremony December 31st, 2019. I did my ceremony. Spirit came in, told me to start a YouTube channel. After I told Spirit, you guys are crazy. I suck on camera. I have no idea of YouTube. I know nothing about it. I took the challenge. I reprogrammed my mind. But well, back up a little bit. They said that there's going to be a need for it. And now that I launched on the summer solstice 2020, and now that I'm doing it, the need is we need people like me and people like you to start communities. I mean, if you're that type of personality, I mean, I'm a Libra, so I'm a cardinal sign. So, cardinals like to be the initiators, but um, but they're saying there's a need for it, and the need is to create community, to bring like-minded people together. And because I'm in my numerological 20/2 year, I'm starting to bring other people on the channel, like Sharita and Heather have been on. We're gonna have Doreen of Children's School of Yoga on. We're gonna have other people on later on. The idea is to bring communities together and create larger communities, and those larger communities come together, and eventually we have a whole world community, because we are a world community. And the only thing that separates us from that community is illusion, programming, and the agenda to separate and divide and conquer. So anyway, this translates to the Eight of Pentacles, pregnancy. I think that's the Empress. No, it's a Four of something. Oh, Four of Cups. Anyway, I that's the message. I don't want to overanalyze it. That's the message. Ooh, oh, I do have my angel cards. Okay. Let's go to an animal card. Number I feel extremely connected to you. I just saying delicious for birthing. Thank you. Yes. Thank you for adding that. Yeah. According to Sharita, the astrology really agrees that it's a really good time for what I was just talking about, which I believe. And some people may have, like Manic Mama, may be literally experiencing pregnancy through her family. So yeah, so that's good. This is the card they want to bring. Condors, yay! That's one of my favorites. Although the meaning, let me show you this firstly. Condors are in the eagle family, right? They look like eagles. They're South American. Very symbolic meaning for shamanic work. If people do the medicine, the plant medicines, or other forms of South American shamanism, condors hold a very special meaning. In these cards, it's saying you're too enmeshed in the situation, so step back and see the bigger picture before making any decision or taking any action. Well, guess what? Mercury's retrograde, Venus is retrograde. Sharita just touched on that. What have we been talking about, all this last half hour or 40 minutes? The bigger picture, and the fact that if we're enmeshed in our own individual stories, we kind of get separated from spirit, and then we get separated from understanding what is going on in the world and how we're being programmed and manipulated, so that only a few people will benefit while many people suffer from poverty, from illness, from whatever it is. What is it? I don't know the percentages, but in the USA alone, and we're one of the richer countries here, the poverty level is alarmingly high. And since the pandemic began, according to information that Russell Brand brought to his channel, according to his research, the richest people in the world are 50% richer over the last 2 years since the pandemic began. So where does that money come from? um, yeah, it doesn't, it doesn't take a very involved math to kind of get an idea of that. But the thing is, when we're enmeshed in our own individual stories, our own dramas, we cut off the big picture. And that happened because when we feel fear, when we feel panic, when we feel worry, these are survival emotions. And the when we feel that, the mind thinks we need to go into survival. So when that happened, we basically become very hyper vigilant in what's happening in our immediate surroundings, and that cuts us off from what's going on in spirit and what's going on in the world around us. So when we feel these emotions, we cut ourselves off from the bigger picture, and that's a problem. That's not a good thing. So what they're saying in the card is, whether you have a decision small or big, you need to just get out of being enmeshed in those survival-based emotions. And as I say a lot, that also takes energy from other systems in your body, like your immune system, which is a good idea to have a good immune system, especially in today's world. So this is the time, while these inner planets are retrograde, this is the ideal time to just step back from the drama, go into the heart. Venus is retrograde. Venus is of the heart. Perfect time to do heart-brain coherence. I talk about that. I have videos on that, raising the emotional frequency of the heart. Then you start to ignite the brain into coherence, and then you become spiritually coherent because you start to match the frequency of spirit that vibrates at the same frequency as the heart when it's in the elevated emotions of gratitude, appreciation, and love. There's science that backs that up, but of course, the masters have been telling us that for thousands of years. Listen to the spiritual masters. All right, so let's move on to angel card. Uh, This is Doreen Virtue's Messengers from the Angels. Just because this card's blue, all the rest have green backgrounds. This have blue backgrounds. Spirits like, go for the blue. I think this is very succinct for what we're talking about today. Patience. So Sharita sharing some personal experiences. Okay, all right. So now is the time to learn, study, and gather information. Enjoy being a student, because in the future you will synthesize your knowledge into action. So it's like, how many different ways can spirit tell us the same thing? That is amazing. So that's usually the way that this works. And so let's have patience. Again, let's go inward this week. That's been the message through all four of the mediums, or actually five, concluding messages I've been getting directly. So all five of the mediums we've been using today, me as the medium, the tarot, the Native American card, the angel card, the animal wisdom card, all telling us the same thing. Time to go inward. Time to really reconnect with your true values, your true humanness, because it's very dehumanizing what's going on in the world. And sometimes we really need to check in with who we are as human. And as human, we're basically spirits having experiences in the human form. So it's through reconnecting with that we start to reconnect with spirit. And again, they're bringing me back to the sacral chakra to really work on that. A lot of our survival stuff gets trapped in the sacral chakra. So when we're in constant fear and anxiety, just because there's so many uncertainties, um, we get a lot of energy gets blocked in the sacral chakra. It inhibits our ability to be creative, and that includes creating our reality in accordance with our dreams and desires. All that gets taken from us by what's being shoveled on top of us by the societies, by the greed machine that is ruling the world and is trying to prevent people from finding their spirit, finding their true creative essence, finding out who they are and everything. So now's the time to learn. It's time to go within. And as you start to build the resonance in your sacral chakra, then it becomes a lot easier to expand through the heart chakra also, and to connect with spirit and source. So anyway, I think that's it for the day. So thank you everybody for being here, and thank you everybody that's sharing on the comment thread. I don't really have an opportunity to see everything that's that you guys are saying, but I love the fact that you're sharing, and that we're really community here. It's really happening. We're really building this community. So that's what I have. And anything else? Kind of a quietish week. On Wednesday, I'm gonna do some activations, guided meditation activation here on the channel, probably at 7 o'clock. So that'll be working with energetic light codes, opening up DNA codes, or way helping to awaken our DNA codes so that we can tap into our higher consciousness. Because as we evolve, that's what happens. We have dormant DNA that's as it awakens, we'll be able to do what Jesus did, like walk on water, heal people. I don't know about raising people from the dead, maybe not. But the point being is that whether it's Jesus or whatever spiritual master, true spiritual master that you follow, of course, Jesus could really be more of a symbol for Christ consciousness. But whatever the case may be, the fact is that there's always been enlightened masters that could do things that we would consider superhuman, but those abilities are available to everybody, and it's locked within our DNA. So as we raise our vibration and frequencies to a certain threshold, then those DNA codes or those portals of information start to activate, and we start to begin to have like new abilities. And so it's amazing. The human potential is absolutely amazing. I firmly believe that we can learn how to walk through walls once we reach a certain level of evolution. And being in two places at once, there's many documented cases of bilocation or forerunners. They even did the Twilight Zone on that once back in the 50s or early 60s, where if somebody was on a business trip, but he arrived that morning. But a forerunner is basically when you arrive somewhere before your physical body does. So people were the man comes to this place, he checks in, and people say, "Oh, hello, Mr. Benson," or whatever his name was. Well, that was a great conversation we had last night. And he's like, "What? I just got here. What are you talking about?" So we have these abilities, talking to the dead, as a medium. That's just scratching the surface. Basically, like, we all have these psychic abilities. We can all heal, or we can all become instruments of healing. Because when I do healing, I don't heal. God heals. I'm just her instrument when I do it. We all have these abilities. So this is what awakening really is. When people talk about having an awakening, it's energy. It's becoming aware of energy. It's becoming aware of new abilities. It's becoming aware of a higher aspect of who you are. So anyway, again, for the third time, I'm going to sign off now, but I'm really going to do it this time. So have a beautiful week. And for those of you that can make it on Wednesday, we're going to do again the DNA codes, the activations, the channeling. It's an energetic experience, and people generally feel it when they do that. So hope you can join me then. I love you. Thank you.